In a world filled with noise, conformity, profit, and greed, we often find that our own creativity is suppressed to maintain some level of marketability, a bottom line, a mass appeal. But we have our creativity. It's something to be cherished, and something that shouldn't be forgotten. Now, one of the most infamous examples of meddling in a creative affair is Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, which released uncut, unaltered, unchanged with its story intact in Japan, and a few years later in the States. What had happened was, for the initial English localization, it was presented and put under the care of Miramax Films, and the CEO, Harvey Weinstein, had demanded that it be cut down and made more palatable to a US audience. So naturally, that led to being about 20 minutes shorter in the States, with a distorted storyline and being incredibly hard to follow. In adapting the Dr. Seuss tale The Lorax, Illumination Entertainment had a bit of a challenge. How were they going to remain faithful to the source material while navigating the realities of corporate America, especially within Hollywood? The original tale is a commentary on the environmental destruction, corporate greed, the unending capitalism and consumerism of our society. But that doesn't fit, because the modern landscape of filmmaking wants you to consume product. The transformation of the once-ler from a remorseful narrator who genuinely feels terrible and wants to avoid the same mistakes again, into a sympathetic protagonist who, while he has some of the same remorses and thoughts, is a lot less of what he used to be. The monster is faceless. He could be anybody. He could be you. He could be me. But here, it's this guy in particular. This man is the one that messed everything up. They took a faceless villain, which was intentionally designed to be any executive producing any product, and intentionally transformed him into a shell of what he used to be. The adaptation really does shine with the whimsy, the memorable characters in the sections that were actually adapted from the book and not pointless filler. But below it is compromises and the problems of creating a work that criticizes capitalism while trying to navigate it. The inability to challenge the people funding it sort of undermines the urgency of the warning. It's less of a call to action and more of a tale of personal redemption, which, while it is important, is not the message that was intended. It's not where the film was meant to go. It's not where the short story was meant to go. Now, I've talked about the problem of trying to sell a product while telling a good story. Now, to some, it seems like there's no real good answer here, is there? If you get the funding for these things, then you don't get to tell the story you want to tell. If you tell the story you want to tell, you can't fund the creation. But sometimes, and you need to remember, you don't need to have a high budget or anything like that to make something. Tell your story. Make something dumb. Just do something to express yourself. There's such a big stigma against independent projects for some godforsaken reason. You can make these things. I can make these things. I'm making something here. There's so much that we are capable of doing, but we just don't. Oh, a bunch of different web shows have done it. The people behind Ruby, which went on to have 9 seasons of the damn thing, started making the Halo machinima. The creators of one film, it's really kicked off at Killer Bean, that was made by a small group of independent creators. You don't need a massive budget to make something impactful. You could do this. Your own creativity is the most valuable thing you have. And if we don't use it, then there won't be any good art. That's the bottom line here. If we aren't making art, then we won't have any art to consume. We could shape our media, and it's a problem that we don't.